So we wanted to, but prior to that, the university was a sort of a very not welcoming place, okay? And so it was a matter of coming together, and I was just thinking about it. Several of my brothers came in 1965, and before that time, there were only 4 black students at FSU. So what it did was, I guess you can say part of the motivation was to have some type of organization on campus, period.
Well, it had a lot to do with socialization, obviously, since the fraternity is a social fraternity. And it's because at the time in 1965 there was not a lot of opportunities for the African American students on campus to socialize with the other students. After all, it was during the Civil Rights era, and we didn't have do a lot of the things that the other white students were doing on campus, quite frankly. And so we wanted an opportunity to be able to socialize amongst ourselves as well as with other African American students.
Well, I would have to give the credit to Hansel Tooks and Jamarcus, who were the ones who had the vision for this. I was one of 14 black students on Florida State campus in 1966, and then they sought out the brothers or the men that were on campus, and so I was invited to be a part of it. So that was what sparked my interest.
Well, one of the things about Florida State at that point in time, like I said, a school of 10,000 with 13 full-time black students, there were 10 guys, 9 of us got together and decided, because there was no other black organization on campus and we couldn't get into any of the fraternities or whatever that were there, we decided that we needed something for ourselves that we could get together and have some fraternity and some affiliations. And so we got together and decided that we would start a fraternity chapter at Florida State, and we decided that it should be Omega.
First of all, let me say good evening to everybody who's watching this video and participating in this grand occasion, which is the 50-year celebration of Superfine 9. In terms of what led us to form the fraternity, the fraternity was formed, I think, in 1968, which means that we had already been on campus for 2 years. And so when we first came on campus in 1965, there were maybe 10 or 11 of us. So we all migrated towards each other anyway. So we were all good friends, traveling in the same social circles. So we were already a fraternity, so to speak, without an official designation. So we had tremendous leaders within the Superfine 9. I think the person who spearheaded it pretty much was Hansel Tootie Tooks, whose father, Coach Tooks Sr., was also a Q. And he was able to pull together the members of the graduate chapters to get the fraternity started at FSU University.
We were a very close-knit group in a hostile environment. So we were very close before this endeavor came about, and I think Brother Tooks and some others who had family background who made us made the suggestion. I can give some impetus from the grad chapter as well. So that's really my recollection of how it came about. But once we decided to go forward, we all decided to go forward with the very same fraternity, which happened to be Omega Psi Phi fraternity.
When we came to Florida State, there were very few African Americans, black people at Florida State, and we didn't have a good social outlet nor a way of communicating well with one another. So we decided to band together and to establish ourselves as a fraternity. And we got together and we talked about which one, and it was unanimous that we wanted to be Qs.
We needed something on campus. We needed something that would provide some type of university life for us. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But before then, we were just unconnected students. Okay, um, and so it provided. We wanted to have something that was our own, and I think that once we did form, we not only were we brothers together in a fraternity, but we were the organization for other students.
Our intent was to have an organization that could represent the African American students on that campus and that African American students could be a part of. We were on campus before the Black Student Union was established at Florida State University. We were the first African American fraternity to be established on a major college in the southeastern United States, a predominantly white institution in the United States. And we wanted to have something that we could call our own, that we can be a part of, and that we could socialize with. And quite frankly, we were very close to the fraternity at Florida A&M University. And as a matter of fact, we had what some might consider a frat house. It wasn't really. It was a duplex over in the Bond community. And two brothers from A&M stayed there, and two brothers from FSU stayed there. And so, the Qs were very, very strong at Florida A&M University during that period of time. And they really accepted us, and that was a way we could socialize, because there wasn't a heck of a lot of social activity for us on Florida State's campus. I mean, we were maybe 15, 20, 30 students when we began out of 15,000 there. So it was a way to get some socialization, if you will, and have some social activity.
Well, initially, I think we were trying to find a camaraderie. I remember very vividly, I lived in Tallahassee, so trying to become a part of the organization, I started out, I was going to take martial arts, and so that was going to be my kind of extracurricular activities. And when I was approached about that, then I changed. So I think it was a desire to have some fellowship. We used to have a lot of meetings with folk kind of on the set and in the cafeteria. And I think this was just an opportunity to fellowship with the persons on the campus.
Well, one, that fraternity, that brotherhood, that connection, that would go beyond just college, but through a lifetime. And so, that was the best. That was the best way to do that. Also, just to provide something on that campus that would be good for black folks coming, because we knew that there would be more coming after us, and so there should be something for them besides what was already there that we were not able to get into or have any affiliations with. And so we just needed something that was meaningful, that would help us through life.
Our purpose was to form the charter line. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if we had a purpose outside of that. It was, like I say, it was just a natural progression of all the things that we were doing on campus at that time. And during the 60s, it was an entirely different environment. In terms of politics and social activism, the students tend to be very, very active, and so are we. But the fraternity sort of fell into place as the thing to do. So sort of codify formally the informal relationship that we already had with each other and which we still have with each other today.
We want to try to lay a good foundation, provide a means of a resource for young men who came through there who needed that level of support, that level of association, and that level of encouragement So we want to try to, we didn't have that when we got there, so when we left there, we want to leave it better off than when we got there. So those men would have that option if they wanted to do that. There would be an existing chapter there that they could come together with.
The purpose of us getting together was to share in friendship, to share in our college experience, to add not only to the academic development, but our social development. We band together and quite frankly helped one another through the FSU process. Brother Ronald Williams was the only black person that I attended class with in my 4.5 years at Florida State, and he was very helpful to me in staying focused and graduating.
The first thing I did when I settled down was to call my brothers and we wrecked.
I think it did, okay? I left, I graduated in 1969, and then, so the CHI-THETA didn't form until after I left, okay? So that means that we wanted it to be, have its own chapter, to have our own chapter, and therefore it did. So that's a goal that was reached.
Absolutely. Yes. I can tell you that one of the most proud things that I've done, and I think you'll find out from the others, is to establish this chapter of Omega Psi Phi on Florida State University's campus. It's very unique. It's something that we did. It's something that we established, and to see it thrive the way it has through the years. Of course, it's had its ups and downs, but what fraternity and what chapter and what college campus didn't have its ups and downs? But there are times when I can look back and I remember you all being the chapter of the year and for the entire fraternity and that kind of thing. You really bonded, and some of the people that pledged the fraternity at FSU, Ben Crump and others, and there are others. That makes us very, very proud that we established something that continues today, 50 years later. Think about that.
Yes, by all means, the chapter has more than surpassed anything that we could have hoped for, and you know, it's just we're proud of all of what has been accomplished by all the brothers who have come after us. So,
what I understand, it has been a successful effort. The men are going forward. The mere fact that we're putting on this commemoration, 50-year commemoration, and it's testimonies that they're doing things right, doing something positive. So, what I've heard about it, it's been positive.
One of the things that I am very proud of my line brothers to start out with. All of them have turned out to be just outstanding men in their own fields, and it varies from medicine to law enforcement to the clergy. I'm extremely proud of them. But I am most proud of the 100 or so young men who come through CHI-THETA and the things that they're doing in their communities and in this nation.